Better World Blueprint. Good humans doing good things.
When the world feels like it's going to hell in a handbasket, finding people who are making it better can restore a sense of balance. Sometimes it's a friend with a kind word. Sometimes it's someone working to improve the lives of others. These are the people who bring hope back into a gloomy world. And that's what this podcast is all about. Welcome to A Better World Blueprint. I'm Siobhan Hunt. I don't know about you, but life is feeling a bit heavy lately. Dara Simkin gets it. Even before the world started to implode, she was telling us all to lighten up. You see, Dara is a play expert. That is, play for adults. Because play for Dara is all about the good things like connection and joy. I hope you enjoy this chat with play expert Dara Simkin. What led you to do this work, this play at work or play in daily life? Why did you decide to start doing it?
I always thought it was just because I was inherently playful. I think, I have ADHD and I am very much hyperactive, and I've always been, the life of the party, and I'm super extrovert and I love people. And, a lot of my life has been that I have been too much. I worked with a keynote speaking coach many years ago when I first started doing keynoting, and she's like, Dara, what's your story? And I'm like, I don't know. She's like, why do you do play? And I'm like, because I'm playful. I was just like, and I was like, I've never climbed Mount Everest and my leg froze and I ate it. That's not my why. I had a hard childhood, but like, who hasn't as a millennial? I was like trying to squeeze blood out of a stone to figure out why I was doing play. And recently, through the process of writing the book Full Stack Human and being a lot more honest about my experience and my ADHD than I probably ever have before, I was laying in bed, listening to music, getting ready for bed, and I just had this huge download. And I think some of us, when we are still and quiet and it's, there's no noise going on, we can sort of sometimes be visited by the muse around. That's why we have aha moments in the shower, right? Because we're just relaxed. And I had this whole download about how, having been undiagnosed ADHD my entire life, always being told I'm too much or I'm too this or I'm not that, realizing that by creating this condition or this environment of play, I can belong. I can belong as being too much or too talkative or whatever it is. Like, I can belong as my authentic self. And that for me was a very pivotal moment in realizing, I'd been doing this work for 10 years and I only just really landed on that kind of profound realization of I'm just trying to create spaces where people belong. And when we are in a place, in a state of playfulness, play doesn't see race or gender or intelligence. None of that stuff matters. It's just about arriving in a present moment of human connection when you're in flow and you're feeling joy. And there's no prerequisite of that. You don't have to be X, Y, and Z to be able to engage in that. And so for me, it's really, I'm wanting to create a world where I belong so that others can also belong.
So back at the beginning, what was motivating you to keep doing this work? What was it that you felt was important before you realized how intimately connected you were with it?
I just saw how it changed people almost instantaneously. When people engage in a joyful, playful space, it's beautiful. And laughter is contagious, and play is contagious, and joy is contagious. And I think no matter who we are or where we come from or how miserable we might appear, I don't think there's any human being that could truly say that they don't want to feel joy or that they don't want to play. I think it's based on circumstance. It can be based on our set and setting mentally and our environment. I just think inherently every human being has the drive to play. It just becomes muddied and calcified and atrophied and, shrunk, but it doesn't disappear because it's how we are built. Like one of my mentors and amazing thinkers in the play space who's been studying play behavior in mammals and humans for the last 50 so years, Dr. Stuart Brown, he talks about how we are built to play and built through play. And yeah, there's a joke about play has a PR problem.
I think it might. I think it might because I think most of us do strongly relate to the idea that, all work, no play, that we need to work hard in order to enjoy life.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that most people can relate to. So as I just mentioned, you started your own business, which can be a challenge. How did you find your way there to going, okay, this is enough to have a business?
I think I would like to just quickly speak to that point that you made before around people not necessarily believing in play or, it's like it's all work and no play. Play is the vehicle with which we can perform better. Play is a state of rest and recovery. It's a state of creativity and imagination. It is actually what enables us to be effective. And it is grossly misconstrued as something that we do after we are productive. But what happens is that we are in the grind and we are trying to be efficient and we are trying to produce, and we then become exhausted and we collapse into this heap that doesn't feel like it wants to play. And you cannot force a frazzled nervous system to play. However, if we believed in play as something that actually fills our cup and grows our capacity, we can realize that it needs to be incorporated as a sort of responsive. How are we responding in the moment to what we need as far as recovery is concerned, as far as connection, as far as how we access our most brilliant ideas? When we're in constant flight or flight mode, when we are constantly in high stakes, when we are constantly feeling like our to-do list is endless, we are not able to access the parts of ourselves which make us the best version of ourselves. So I think that there's a big shift in thinking that needs to exist within any high achieving human being or any kind of white collar worker in general, that play is the prerequisite to better work, to more interesting, innovative ideas. And I just think we have it ass backwards.
Well, just very quickly, can you define play for us? Because there might be people with a vision in their head at the moment of like tech bros going around their office on segways and playing with hacky sacks or something like that. How do you define play?
For me, play is really a space of presence, curiosity, and exploration and connection. And any way that we can access those moments, it is play. It doesn't have to be this grand gesture of side-splitting laughter or some next level performance of whatever. It is just, for example, I was talking to a girlfriend the other day. She said, with my team, we used to be, we were all really multicultural. Every Wednesday, we would bring food from our background and we'd share a meal together on a Wednesday for lunch. And she said that was incredible. On Monday mornings, some teams come together. Like for my team, there used to be these funny grids where you would have like a picture of, say, a dog 10 different ways. And you're like, which number dog are you showing up as? And just like, it's small, enjoyable, low stakes moments that make a huge difference. And again, we overcook it, we overcomplicate it. We think that we have to like change everything in order to be a more playful culture or a more playful person. And it's literally just little tiny micro moments, micro practices where you are choosing exploration, creativity, connection, rest, any of those things all constitute play. And
When you say that, it makes me think of my work at the moment is as a producer working in a team with an executive producer and our host. And when we sit down to work on the script for the program, it's a radio program, we have so much fun. And it's been the most enjoyable, creative, collaborative, and productive experience. But now that you mention it, it does feel like we're playing most of the time.
Yeah.
But we're still getting stuff done, and it does feel like the best work, but in a really collaborative sense as well, which is quite interesting. There's a lot of laughter.
Yeah. I mean, seriousness does not equal success. There is no data that you will find anywhere that says when leaders are serious, they get shit done and people trust them and their work is great. It's like, no. When leaders are hopeful, open, communicative, vulnerable, empathetic, that's when people want to do the best work. So I sometimes think that the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. And until that changes, until we are so uncomfortable in what we're doing right now, which I think AI is actually pushing that hard because jobs are being, all these tech bros, like you said, ditched 1,600 people, made redundant at Atlassian. All these companies, publicly claiming that they're shifting things because of AI. Like where we are at is an uncomfortable moment in time. And, my book, Full Stack Human, is really like, when are we going to stop sacrificing our humanity for success? When are we going to wake up and go, actually, none of this shit is working. None of the systems government isn't working. School isn't working. Work isn't working. Like marriages are breaking down. Like literally every system that we have been told to trust and follow is fraying at the seams. And that's big.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do we look at our own life and our own environment and find moments where we can access joy, curiosity, exploration, presence, connection? Like we can't control those systems. We have to exist within them. But how do we enable ourselves to go, okay, what are small nudges, little habits, little micro moments where I can actually access myself?
I can hear that you're very passionate about the work that you do. Is that something which is fabulous? It's what you want. Is that something that sustained you while you started your business? I've spoken to a lot of people on this podcast who have either started their own thing or worked for something that hasn't been that well remunerated. And it's the through line on all of them in terms of their success, in terms of them making an impact, has been their sense that what they're doing is making a difference. Is that something that resonates with you? Did that help through the process?
I mean, we as human beings are meaning-making machines. And if you can find something that you find meaning in, that you believe so deeply in, that you want to shout it from the rooftops, I think you're on the right track. I will stand on my play soapbox forever. I make a joke. I'm like, I'm an oxymoron. I'm serious about play. Sometimes I feel like I have to rein it in because I feel this need to like prove how important play is. And I think sometimes I lose sight of my own playfulness because I get stuck in the system of proving and producing and achieving. And again, I like, my work and my art are currently something I'm living, writing this book and putting it out into the world and having this huge achievement. And then I'm like, what do I do next? And it's like, well, no, wait a minute. Like be in that. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with removing our identity with our output. Because then the thing that we started that was so meaningful and so amazing, it doesn't matter anymore. And we just get stuck in this cycle of go, 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 do, achieve, achieve. And the thing that we felt the most connected to is now just another thing on our to-do list.
Yeah, that's very true. So have you stumbled? You have this great passion, but obviously making it work can be another thing. What were your biggest stumbles and can you tell us about them?
I have so many stumbles. I mean, my first stumble, and again, I think also like stumble, failure, it's subjective, right? Because we don't actually learn unless we fail. Like you just do not learn when you're comfortable. So I think my First kind of fumble, stumble, whatever, was trying to do this adult summer camp, which was the first iteration of my business, which didn't land. Australians don't go to summer camp. There was not enough kind of nostalgia around it. And instead of going, oh, the camp, it sucks, it's not going to work, I was like, okay, how can I make the camp work? Instead of it being like a fun, silly camp for like personal whatever, I'm going to make it about work. Let's do play at work camp and see how that goes. Another stumble I had, I won a $3 million contract with a huge company. It was kind of life-changing. My business grew from 2 to almost 15. I was literally building the plane while I was flying it. I think like with having ADHD, being an entrepreneur, like systems and processes, for me at least, not my strong point. Big vision, big doing the thing, amazing. But I didn't necessarily have the right people in the right roles. I was also on maternity leave while I won this huge contract. So I was very happy just like sitting back and letting it happen. I'm like, sweet, this is great. But then I didn't have the finger on the pulse. I didn't know what was going on. The contract was terminated without any rhyme or reason, and everything just crumbled to pieces. I had kind of reached the peak of my career, winning this huge global contract, and then it just disintegrated within a day. And I had to
Wow.
fire everyone. And I was like, I climbed this mountain and then I got pushed off the side of it. And it's taken me many years to recalibrate myself. I've never lost my sense of direction of play, but what it did to my sense of life, and I mean, everything basically imploded for me. I feel like writing this book has been a real kind of rising of the phoenix moment for me to come at my work in a different way with a different set of ideas. Still play, like there's a huge part of the book about play, but really like leveling up in my thinking around this isn't just about we're not playing enough anymore. This is literally about we are not humaning as we should be humaning, like we are not being
Yes.
human beings. And that is like a whole other kind of contextual layer of what is the current paradigm is. So yeah, and with my ADHD, like I fuck up all the time. Like, for example, I left my computer bag behind my car, and I forgot, and I reversed, and I ran over
dear.
my computer got wedged under my car in my backpack. I like,
you
you
poor
know,
thing.
this happens, this just shit happens. So, all you can do is laugh and go,
Yeah.
that's funny. And now I have a purple line through my computer screen, but it still works. And I think what I've realized with all of the failures and the fumbles is just like trusting that it's not going to last forever, even though when you're in it, it feels all consuming. And there's been moments where, and I'll be honest, I write about it in the book. I've had suicidal thoughts. I've wanted to escape my life and go back to America and live with my sister. Sometimes when we feel like things are so difficult, all we can think about is wanting to escape. But what we
Yes.
actually need to do is just be in that discomfort and let it be felt and have that ugly cry and have that moment. I joke about how I have a Spotify playlist that's called Feelings, and it's like songs that I know that just get me. Like people say, like
Yes.
when I need to have a cry, I watch Free Willy. I watch a sad movie, and so it's just like knowing that there's something in me that needs to move, and letting it move through you. And the more that we numb out and we escape it and we dig into our work more, or we scroll on social media, like we're so disconnected from that part of ourselves that just is like feelings need to be felt. What resists persists. And so, yeah, I think everyone fumbles and fucks up all the time. It's just, how do we allow ourselves to experience the grief and the pain and the discomfort? Because you can't have light without dark. It just doesn't work.
Has doing this work changed you?
Absolutely. I am literally right now in the process of this huge existential moment. Again, I feel writing this book, it was a huge undertaking, so much adrenaline and thinking and creating, and it's been beautiful and amazing, but it's also like I talk about, I've like leveled up in this video game that's called life, I've leveled up, and now I'm at this next level, and I'm like, whoa, where am I at? What am I doing? And so, yeah, it's both really scary and also really profound, because I don't want to just plow forward because I've written this book and I feel like I should be doing all of this stuff. It's like, actually, I need to rest. I'm exhausted. This has been an insane undertaking. And I just want to have a moment to go, that was fucking hard. I need to take a nap and I need to exercise and I need to talk to my people who are close to me. And I just need to let myself recover so that I can come then from a place of groundedness in what I want to see myself as next. Because like I said, I feel like I've done this play at work thing for the last 10 years, which has been incredible. And it's my thing, it's my vehicle. But like, what is the shape that it's taking now in this new form of this identity and book and things like that? So this is hot off the press, people. I literally have just been feeling this in the last few days. And my book talks a lot about achievement addiction. And I kind of, like I said before, I'm living my art. I'm like, holy shit, I'm an achievement addict. I've done this huge achievement and my brain wants to just go, now what? And after writing this book and researching this idea in depth, I'm like, I need to just pause and recover and recalibrate and not allow my nervous system to just continue to frazzle as I try and journey into this next thing of what I have to do. I think we have to allow ourselves to sit in this liminal space and this kind of called the fertile void. Like it's a void, but there's still like there's fruitful void.
And have you been able to see the impact of your work? Are there any particular stories that come up for you when you think about how this work has changed people or made it better?
100%. I've had people quit their jobs and start something new because they've experienced an event that I've run. Or I've had people, I'm very vocal on LinkedIn and very kind of honest about my own experience. And people message me and they're like, thank you for being so open. This is my experience, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. And like I said, when I run a workshop, people light up. There's laughter, there's connection, there's just this real raw feeling of these people are just here and they're enjoying themselves. And that for me is to be on the receiving end of that is the most enjoyable part of my job, is that I get to witness people just having a great time, but also secretly learning as well, which is why I love play, because, it's like, whether this was Plato or not, we learn more about a person in an hour of play than in a year of conversation, because we arrive as ourselves in a playful space. And so people are learning about themselves and each other and who's on their team. And what makes play purposeful is really the debrief. How was that for you? What surprised you? Did you feel like you could fully lean in? Was something holding you back? Like those moments where we're invited to participate in a raw, real, authentic way. The things we tell ourselves in that moment, the things we avoid, the things we lean into, the things we question, those are all learning moments of understanding ourselves better. And because a lot of times those moments are uncomfortable because we're so detached from it, because we don't play at work, because we don't play at home. When we have a chance to play and it's uncomfortable, it's like, oh, whoa, what's happening for me where I can't just let go a little bit and enjoy myself? What's happening for me? I think is a very telling way of reflecting.
Well, Dara, thank you so much for chatting with me today. There's a lot of what you've said that has resonated with me anyway, so thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Play expert Dara Simkin, co-author of Full Stack Human, the mindset upgrade you need to stay human in a world ruled by technology. And if you'd like more info on the book, check out the notes in this episode. And also, if you know someone who's making the world a better place, you'll find my email there as well. So please tell me about them. See you next time.